Alright guys, welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. This is Ali Plays. Today I have a new series for you guys. It's the Faction Wars series. So what is Faction Wars? So this has been here for a while. You can click on it and it tells you what Faction Wars is. So Faction Wars will pit factions against faction in a fight for honor and glory. So as you can see, we have different factions. We've got Sacred Order, Bannerlords, Algorithmic Tribes, and so forth. So with their strongholds besieged by warring alliances, each faction must rise up and liberate their lands. And with the stakes so high, only champions born of the faction will be willing to put their lives on the line to defend their kind. So rally your champions, gather the strongest each faction has to offer, and set forth to battle. So we scroll down to read how Faction Wars will work. So each faction will have their own dedicated location that they must liberate, and only champions from that faction are able to fight for you at that location. So this is a good time to prepare for Faction Wars, because after the client update that they're going to get, the one for the PC client, Faction Wars should be next. So Faction Wars is pretty soon, unless there are delays. So each location will also contain tough new bosses that develop and get harder as you progress. So it's probably going to be a steep difficulty. And like Potion Keeps, each faction's location will only be open on certain days. So what this means for you: prepare, train teams of champions from each faction, and ready them for the wars to come. Hint: you'll need to rely on all your champions. Do not sacrifice champions unless you have adequate replacements from the same faction. So this is why a lot of people have been saying that you should not sacrifice any champion. They don't have duplicate stuff, and that's one of the reasons. So this new series is going to be going over all the factions, not separate videos of course. So we're going to be looking at the Telerians today. We'll try to look at two if we have time. We'll look at Sacred Order and Barbarians. So we're going to do Bannerlords and High Elves. So let's get started. So we're going to be looking at this from a free-to-play perspective. So obviously if you're free-to-play, you still have chances of pulling any of the legendaries or the epics on the list. But we're going to be looking at the rares and the uncommons that you should focus on, like the good ones, and how you can build a team with these champions. I'm not sure how many you're allowed to use, if it's 4 or 5 champions in Faction Wars, or if you need multiple of each type. So let's take a look. So worthwhile champions from the Bannerlords, easy to skill up. We got Fireblade. So Fireblade is a tag type champion. She was on my list before for one of the top 10 common champions for the clan boss, but she's also should be serviceable with her decreased attack. And since there are going to be bosses, the bosses might be like clan boss as well. I'm not sure what kind of bosses we're going to have, or if they're keep bosses. And she also has poison on her A2. So she's a worthwhile champion to invest in for Faction Wars. Just get her skills up, and then maybe she's uncommon. Just take her 4-star, leave her there for now. Other champions. So another guy you can work on to prepare for Faction Wars, free-to-play way, is Squire. His damage is based on defense. He's defense-based. So that's always good. So they double dip into defense, so their attack's going to be based on their defense. So they're going to be surviving as well as dealing damage. He also has an AoE that has a 30% chance of placing a 25% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. So decreased attack looks like it's going to be good because you don't want your champions to die. So this guy will be a good champion to use for the uncommons. So my take on it is you want to use your uncommons first. Let's say there's different levels. Let's say the first area they have to liberate. I'm pretty sure you're going to need to use your uncommon champions, because the way I think is going to happen is that when you finish using those champions, my theory is that you can't use them again. So you would want to work on your uncommon champions so they can clear the first area for you. But again, that's just speculation. I don't have any insider info on this one, but it's always good to prepare. So yeah, we have Fireblade, we have Squire. Commander is also a good choice. She attacks one enemy, has a 15% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. Easy to level up her skills because she's uncommon. You can get her from Marketplace, and yeah, so it's pretty good. She has a heal, so that's always helpful. She heals the ally with the lowest HP by 40%. 40% of her max HP, and it completely fills the target's turn meter if the ally is fully healed. This champion turn meter cannot be filled by the skill. So yeah, she's a turn meter booster that can heal. So she's a very, very solid choice to work on for Faction Wars. What else we got? These guys have a good uncommon champions, man. So she's also a good choice because she has self-sustain on her A1, and she heals by 20% of the damage inflicted. And then also she has a stun on her A2. Again, easy to level up her skills. And she's got high speed. She's got 101 speed attack type champion. So she's a good choice. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. And if it's a team of 5, Let's see who we can go with. So as a team of 5, I would pick Archer to work on. She has a double hit on her basic attack, and she has an extra 15% chance of inflicting a critical hit, and she fills her turn by 50% if the attack is critical. So you don't have to build as much crit on her. And she has an AoE that has a 10% chance to place a 15% decreased speed debuff on one turn. So yeah, I would work on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these champions. And if you want to, you can work on Stalwart, but I think you're going to be using a lot of champion slots. So yeah, these are good champions to work on. So over here, we got these 3 Void rares. So these are going to be hard to acquire, so we're not going to go over them. If you have them, you can use them. Good champions to use would be Valerie. She's farmable on stage 1 of the campaign. So Valerie is a pretty good champion for early game because of her ability to increase the duration of all buffs and allies by 1 turn. And also she decreases the duration of all debuffs on allies by 1 turn. And she plays a 25% increased attack buff on allies for 2 turns. So she is farmable. So it's easy to level up her skills. And then she has Protect. She places a shield buff on allies for 2 turns. So this is what makes her really good because of this shield buff. And the value of the shield depends on this champion's level. And she heals each ally according to the number of buffs they are currently under. So with these champions, I would actually take them to 5-star. Valerie and the other ones I'm going to be going over. Just because of Valerie's ability to place a shield based on her level. So you want to make sure that she's high level. So another champion that's really good that is farmable from here is Conqueror. So it's easy to level up his skills. He has a double hit on his basic attack. He can remove debuffs on his A2. The cooldown goes down to 2 turns, so that's really good. And then he has one move that he attacks one enemy and enemies killed by his skill cannot be revived. So with Faction Wars, I feel like this will be very good if you're fighting, let's say you're fighting the Orc faction and they have a Shaman on the team, you can use that. Or if they have a lot of buff placers on the team, you can remove the buffs from the target. And also he has an aura skill. So aura skills look like they're going to be very, very important in Faction Wars. Because a lot of these champions, the rares and the uncommons, well, the uncommons don't have aura skills, but the rares, some of them don't have viable aura skills. So this guy's is very good to increase ally attack and all battles by 18%. So it's very good to theory craft what teams you think you're going to be using. So yeah, we have Valerie, and then we're using Conqueror. And the other ones are not as easy to get. So Crossbowman, Grandmaster, Preserver, Courtier, I don't know, Cataphract, and Halberder. So these guys you can only get from summoning the rest of them. So I would actually work on Valerie and Conqueror. Good champions to actually use, let's say if you have them, would be Preserver. She's very good. She has increased ally HP in all battles by 70%. She has decreased speed on her basic attack. She has continuous heal and shield buff on herself for 2 turns. The value shield proportional to her max HP, but she's defense based champion. And she has a freeze on her A3, so freeze is always good. So she's a good champion to work on if you have her. So another good champion to use is Halberder. He has a weaken on his basic attack. If you can get him, like this is not farmable at all, but it is attainable because it's from ancient. You can get him from ancient shards and mystery shards as well. So you attack an enemy, will ignore shield and block damage buffs. So this guy looks like he's going to be dealing a lot of damage because of this ability as well as his passive. He increases crit damage by 40%. This guy's going to be one of the heavy hitters from the rares or the Bannerlords faction. So Grandmaster is another good choice. He has a triple hit on his basic attack. He's HP based champion. He's got 16,000 HP at level 60, fully ascended. He's A2, he attacks one enemy, has a 40% chance of placing a 25% decreased attack debuff on the target for 2 turns. So you can pick a target that you think is going to be doing a lot of damage and apply a decreased attack on them. And then he has a ability to attack one enemy, and he has a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff on the target for 1 turn. So again, choose a target that you think will be doing a lot of damage and force him to attack Grandmaster. And also you can build a whole full magic team with him. Increase magic ally HP in all battles by 17%. So he's a good candidate for Faction Wars. And we have Crossbowman. Crossbowman's kind of there for like single target crowd control. His basic attack has a 50% chance to place an extra hit, so that's kind of useless. He can place a 30% increased crit rate buff on a target ally for 2 turns, and he grabs himself an extra turn. With that turn, he can stun. He has a 75% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn, and also a 75% chance of decreasing speed for 2 turns. So yeah, he can be a champion that can help you keep some champions in check. So he's a good option. So going over, we had Halberder, Conqueror, Preserver, Grandmaster Valerie, and Crossbowman, if you guys want to work on those guys. The other champions are not that good, so I wouldn't focus on them. So again, if you have any of the epics or the legendaries, obviously you want to use them because they are better than the rares on here. Very good champion. So one of the very, very good champions is this guy. He's a new champion. He's a Void rare, so he's going to be hard to get, but if you get him, he's going to be very good for Faction Wars because he can place a Veil. He can place a Veil buff on all allies except for himself for 2 turns, so he's going to be tanking for your whole team. So let's move on to the High Elves faction. Let's look at the uncommon. So there's only 3 uncommon champions. She's a pretty good choice because she's an attack-based champion. She can decrease attack, and also she can reduce turn meter. So turn meter reducing will actually work, except for on bosses, but it depends on what boss we'll fight. If it's something like a clan boss, that decreased turn meter is not going to work in the faction wars. They said there will be bosses. Jaeger, or Jaeger, whatever how you pronounce his name, he can decrease speed on his basic attack, and then he also has a freeze, so he's actually a good choice. And we have Aristocrat. He has heal reduction, so that's going to be solid in Faction Wars as well as Weaken. The way I see Faction Wars, I know you guys are saying, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about because it's not out yet, so how are you going to prepare for something that you don't know? My theory is that I feel like Faction Wars is going to be like Arena, so even if you click on, you want to liberate a place, I don't know if it's going to be 1 wave or 2 waves, but you're going to be having a kind of like Arena-like match with the AI. So that's what my theory is. It's basically like, and the further you get, it's going to be very hard. So hopefully the rewards will be good. So as always, for rares, Apothecary is a very, very solid choice. If you have him, if you don't have Apothecary, you can go with the starter champ lane if you picked a lane, or if you got it from Ancient Shards or Mystery Shards. Farmable champions, we have Harris. She can increase ally speed in dungeons by 16%. I don't think that's going to work for Faction Wars because Faction Wars is not a dungeon. She has an extra, her A1, she attacks one enemy and grabs an extra turn if the target's killed. So that should be very good for Faction Wars if you can build with a lot of damage. She can remove 1 random debuff from all allies. That's very, very good. And she has a 60% chance of placing a 30% increased speed on all allies for 2 turns. So yeah, if you see that, that's very solid. She's easy to skill up because she is farmable. And she counterattacks attacker when an ally is attacked. So that's very good. The only thing about her is that aura skill. I don't think that's going to be viable. So yeah, as Elaine, you guys know her very well. Attacks 1 enemy, places an extra hit if the attack's critical. She has an AoE. She has an extra 50% chance of completing a critical hit with it. And she places a 30% increased crit buff on herself for 3 turns if the target is killed. And then she has another AoE that attacks 2 times, so she's going to be very, very good for Faction Wars. And also she has a universal aura skill. Avenger is also farmable. She has an A1 that attacks 1 enemy, has a 30% chance of placing decreased defense. Returns, attacks 2 times at random. She has an extra 50% chance of inflicting a critical hit. And she attacks 1 enemy, the skill always inflicts critical hit. So she's just there for damage. She doesn't really do anything else. She just decreases defense and does damage. So anyways, let's go over. So Apothecary, you guys know him. He boosts turn meter, he heals. He has a triple hit on his basic attack. You guys know him very well. He's a very good champion. So Adjudicator over here, she's a rare champion. She has a heal reduction. She's not farmable. She's attainable with Mystery Shards and Ancient Shards. So she has a heal reduction on her basic attack, so that's good. If you face anybody that's constantly healing themselves or a team with healers. Also, she has an A2 that has a 50% chance of decreasing turn meter by 20%. But if you max it out, 70% chance of decreasing turn meter by 20%. And it's going to be a 3-turn cooldown. Penalize. She attacks 2 times at random. And she has a 75% chance when maxed out of increasing the cooldown of one of the target skills by 1 turn at random. So that should be hit or miss. If you can get it to land on a target, like a high priority target, that would be very good. And also she has a universal aura skill, increases ally accuracy in all battles by 40. So that's pretty good for a rare champion. Hyria I feel like is a good choice. I think a lot of people sleep on Hyria. If you have her, but she is a very good choice because of this ability right here. She attacks 1 enemy with 2 random allies. Allies join the attack using their default skills. So you can just choose one of the, I always say this, high priority targets. And then your allies come in to help you, and then you can kill them before they do any damage. And her aura skill is not going to be helpful. She also has poison, a triple hit poison on her A2. It's a 5% poison. Yeah, so we went over Apothecary, these 2 farmable champions. Elaine, obviously, Adjudicator, Hyria. The Void is not that good. She's not that very good. She's not that good of a champion. And also this champion right here is not that good, but if you have him, then you can work on him. He has a revive on death and reflect damage with his A2. He has an AoE heal reduction. So if you guys want to work on him, you guys can go ahead. And we're not going to go over the epics. Obviously you have epics, then use your epic champions. Epics and legendaries. If you guys want me to make a separate video going over the epics and legendaries, let me know. Our video, so we're already at 20 minutes and we've only gone over Bannerlords and High Elves. So in the next video, I'll be going over the Sacred Order and Barbarians and choosing the champions there. If you guys have any questions, or if you guys want me to go over something else, if you guys want me to go over epics and legendaries, let me know down in the comment section. And if you guys found this video helpful or entertaining in any way, make sure you guys drop a like, help me out. And if you guys are new to the channel, if it's your first time watching me, then definitely hit that big red subscribe button. And while you're at it, make sure you guys hit that bell icon to let YouTube know you want to stay up to date on the latest content. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.